Hello there. Today I'm going to show you how to make an animated Clone Wars Kenobi beard. For this build, I used EVA foam, super glue, hot glue, paint, a generic mask, safety gear, sanding tools, scissors, razor pens, and a box cutter. Let's start with the mustache. First, I cut the flat shape out of foam floor mats. I figured this shape out on cardboard before making mistakes and wasting a bunch of foam. But if you do mess up a few times, it's no big deal. EVA foam usually comes in 6 packs of 2-foot by 2-foot tiles, so there's a pretty big margin for error. If you don't want to deal with the trial and error, however, I've transferred this pattern to white cardstock and made it available below. When I landed on the correct shape, I traced it onto the foam. Then I cut it out with scissors, but used a razor pen for the tight spaces. After that, I refined some of the rough spots on my belt sander. The inside curve actually matches up perfectly with the belt sander's roller. How about that? I also made a few minor changes to the tight corners with my rotary tool, just because it offers a little bit more control, I think. When I was finished with the sanding, I cut 5 vertical lines into the foam with my razor pen. Not all the way through, only a few millimeters. Then I heat formed it in order to get the vertical lines to open up, and also to curve the mustache slightly, making it better conform with the face. Then I placed it into a tape spool so that it would retain its curved shape as it cooled. While I waited for the mustache to cool, I worked on the main beard. I took this half template and taped it to a piece of foam along the line of symmetry, making sure it wouldn't go over the edge of the foam when I eventually flipped it. Then I traced it, making sure to mark where the lines on the surface of the beard would be later on, as well as where the mustache handles would lie. When one side was finished, I flipped the template along the line of symmetry and repeated the process. Then I removed the template and used a narrow Sharpie to trace between my registration marks and draw the beard segment lines. This is important because sometimes heavy Sharpie lines can show through a paint job, especially when you're painting a light color of paint, so I'm just trying to avoid that. It should come out looking like this. Next, I cut out the shape from a sheet of foam. I alternated between scissors and the razor pen at my own discretion. I left a little extra at the top of the sideburns, just for safety. I mean, not actual safety, just to give myself some leeway later on. Next, I made more shallow cuts along the narrow lines for the beard segments using the razor pen and a Conrail ruler, apparently, because I can't find my CSX ruler. I think I lost it in a move. Bummer. What are we doing? Recording voiceover. Anyway, I made sure not to cut all the way through while doing this, just like on the mustache piece. Then I heat formed that with my heat gun, also just the same as the mustache, which has long since cooled down by now. In order to get it to hold its shape, I lightly hot glued it to a styrofoam dummy head. This will also serve as a painting rig. It will take a little longer for the hot glue to cool down because I'm gluing one insulation foam onto another insulation foam, so I had to hold it in place for quite a while. Once it was secured, I test fitted the mustache to figure out the placing. I marked where it was gonna lie, and then cut out a section from the back of each handlebar so that it would fit securely into place. This is delicate work, and it's not totally necessary, but I think it helps the mustache not only stay in place, but blend with the beard better. When those panels were removed, I used super glue to attach the mustache to the beard. I chose super glue here because this is too small and too front and center for hot glue, in my opinion. Hot glue would most likely smoosh out from under the sides. It held together while it dried, which happens pretty quickly. But I want to take a moment to warn everyone that when you're super gluing 2 pieces of foam together, there's a bit of a thermal reaction, and you can definitely get a mild first-degree burn if some of it sneaks out from under the edge and contacts your skin. This has been Safety Brief with William Jakespeare. William Jakespeare, making the mistakes so you don't have to. A few moments later, when the glue dried, I cut the excess off of the ends of the handlebars. The excess was only on there to begin with so that the template fits multiple face sizes. See, I'm of exactly average height and build, like shockingly average, so people using my templates who are a lot shorter or a lot taller than me run into issues, and I'm trying to avoid that. This is my gift. This is my curse. I am generic man. Basically Tobey Maguire when he's not Spider-Man. Oh hey, I can cosplay Tobey Maguire mask off Spider-Man. Sweet. It's a stereotypical New York landmark. And away! Go web! Once it was secure, I began painting it. I'm starting with a base coat of white, so the top layer pops. The rolling pan isn't necessary, by the way. I just have it out because I'm also painting one of my astromech droids off screen. I built it in gray foam instead of white just to prove that it was indeed EVA foam. And now I've quite literally painted myself into a corner. It's just taking forever. You want to make sure to unload your brush before painting the mask, just so that you don't accidentally fill in the seams with excess paint by mistake. When I was finished, I let that dry overnight. In the morning, I gave it a top coat of burnt sienna. No. It was raw sienna. You want to make sure that the brush strokes are all going in the same direction, which helps to simulate hair. This will match the look of Obi-Wan from the show. The animation style had kind of a paintbrush top coat to it. So around the time I originally built this, I actually spent an insane amount of time and effort frantically building and painting this R4 dome to wear as a backpack in time for DragonCon this year. Got it finished just under the wire, and of course, waited till the last minute to check the COVID protocols for the convention. And when I saw the mask requirement, I was like, man, that's gonna completely mess up the costume. So I looked through my mask collection and found my ugliest one, which just happened to be skin tone. But just then, I had a light bulb moment. Replace all the light bulbs with LED. Really gotta fix that. I incorporated the mask into the costume by throwing together this animated Kenobi beard totally last minute, on a whim. And at the convention, I ended up getting more compliments for the 15-minute beard than the 15-hour droid. People didn't even notice the droid, which was very hurtful. Because he was my brother, Anakin. I loved him! So I don't know anymore. I just don't know. I think I'm trying too hard. After painting, I set that aside to dry. When it dried, I cut it off with a dummy head with a box cutter. That's why I left on the excess material, by the way. I knew I was just gonna have to cut it away. In order to secure it to my face, there are a number of options. If you're clean shaven and have a crew cut, then you can use Pros-Aide, which is a stage makeup adhesive. I've got some sideburns going on, so I'll have to use ear straps from one of my many pandemic masks. So I expect that I'll still have to deal with mask policies for the next few months. So I left the skin tone mask in one of the beards, and it kind of blends. And now I have the option. And that was it. Hello there! Now I'm ready to destroy some cartoon robots from the high ground. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this short tutorial. It was made possible by my patrons, whose names are scrolling by. If you're feeling generous, then feel free to join them in the link down below. If not, that's cool. Totally cool. I get it. If you're just trying to build this mask and it's not quite coming out right, then there's also a link to the template that I used down in the video description as well. I think that's just about it. So consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell icon so that you never miss a build, checking out the back catalog if you're new to the channel, because there are a lot of builds in there, like Obi-Wan's armor, for instance. And oh, hey, what do you think of me building the animated Obi-Wan Kenobi hairpiece as well to go with this? Because my natural hair kind of works, but it is a break in the visual style of the costume. Let me know in comments down below. Happy crafting. See you later.